and welcome to ESI Africa Insights. Today we are talking to Tomas Sales, who is the UNDP Special Advisor for the Africa Sustainable Finance Hub. Did I get that right? Yes. So, how would you go about describing Africa's green business landscape to a financier or a developer who knows nothing about Africa?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. The landscape overall, you could say, is growing, but still on early stage. You put it this way, the world is transition too. Africa is also following this one pathway. But what is unique is that Africa has a strategic, I would say even a natural advantage. Because Africa is not invested in the old ways and fossil fuel economy. And Africa has this unique demographic situation where the majority of the population are the youth. And Africa is the place where, we have the greatest vulnerability in terms of the extreme war and less capability to respond. The combination of these factors makes it a very strategic place to look and from where you can look for opportunities to invest and do your business.
Okay, so you actually are at Inlet Africa because you're launching the Africa Green Business and Financing Report. Why did the UN choose to target green financing as a research topic?
It's interesting. You see, we started looking based on our strategic plan. One of the big, themes and needs is to address this challenge that we have around climate change, biodiversity conservation, and the need to develop sustainable ways to address it. And it is within that process that naturally we as a intergovernmental organization have been dealing with governments. But very clear, it's become very clear and self-evident that the solutions do not belong to government or one sector. It takes, a whole collective approach and in order to address this problem. And if, in particular, the role of the private sector is compelling, you see the needs for financing this transition are estimated in the zone of billions and even trillions sometimes, if you look at different estimates. And the fact that governments now, they don't have much space just coming out of COVID, fiscal space. And we need to look for alternative opportunities and players. And the private sector plays and potentially can play a really critical role. And the interesting part is not just to implement some other visions, but I think, given the knowledge, the ability, and even the threat that this climate change represents to them, to co-create together with these solutions that will help. So this transition to net zero cannot be done by one group, but all of them. And being part of the UN, we look at those things and I think we have a unique ability to bring the parties together.
Okay, so thinking of the report itself, was there some factor that stood out or surprised you?
Yes, in doing the report, as I mentioned before, we do realize that despite the fact that Africa might be not in a position of strength and have all the resources, naturally we see the evolution and the role of different types of business. In Morocco, for instance, we have the biggest solar plant across the world. We have in Kenya a company called Copper, which is developing a combination of embedded service and solutions, which provide energy and at the same time using digital means, making it possible and affordable for people to use and buy solar energy. So, basically, the report has shown us there is activity. It is still at early stage, but they are interesting models. And there lies the opportunity that Africa actually can leapfrog. Africa actually can show global leadership in this space.
Okay. Well, thanks, Tomas, for telling us
Yeah.
about some of the innovations
Yeah.
that are happening in Africa. So stay tuned for the next episode of ESI Africa Insights and have a powerful day.